Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
There's a locally owned ice cream shop on Arapahoe in Richardson. Tongue in Cheek. You know it? Some of you? Yes. They send out a daily email announcement that announces the names of the day. And when it's your name, if you go by, you get a free scoop of ice cream. Periodically, they have Stanley Day. And on Stanley Day, you bring your big stainless steel water mug, and you bring it in for a free fill-up of your favorite flavor. This week, however, the email announcement from them had a more serious tone. It was from a partnership they'd forged, tongue and cheek, with the network of community ministries. And they wished everyone a bountiful Thanksgiving. And then in bright red, all capital letters with 2 exclamation marks, the email read, "Bring an item and get a free scoop, November 5th to 19th. Who wouldn't trade cans of meat or tuna fish for a scoop of homemade ice cream?" It's a nice place to start, but it won't solve the massive, preventable problem created by the government shutdown for furloughed workers that don't have paychecks and households that are enrolled in the SNAP program to enhance their resources for food. You don't need me or want me to parse for you the politics or analyze the benefits and costs of the systems, or quote for you any more statistics. There are plenty of sources for all of that. What I can offer tonight is the wisdom of our tradition, wisdom that comes from the Torah, and this week, wisdom in the voices of our congregants, of our own members who volunteer at the Vickery Meadow Food Pantry and Clothes Closet. It's a partnership we have with Jewish Family Service and Catholic Charities. On Walnut Hill, just east of Greenville, it's a sanctuary of sorts, less than 3 miles from this sacred place. And this week at the pantry, we broke a record, but it was not a moment for celebration. The numbers, the volunteers tell me, have been rising for weeks. And on Wednesday, we served more people than ever in the history of the pantry. 214 hungry families. We are also breaking records in donations. People who've never supported the pantry, people the volunteers don't know, are donating money and food. And our small, open 2 days a week pantry received more than $5,000 in credit card donations in the past 10 days. And for the first time, someone designated to the pantry their $5,000 IRA contribution. A couple of stories. 3 weeks ago, a young woman came to the pantry with her mother, and they opened their car, not to load food, but to share food. 13 cases of cherry tomatoes. That's 15 boxes to a case for a total of 195 packages of tomatoes. It's a lot. 4 cases of those small colored bell peppers. 12 bags in a case, 48 packages. And all that produce went home that very day with families. The donors are immigrants from Laos wanting to help their new neighbors. With the daughter as translator, they chatted with our volunteer. And they came back again this past week. They unloaded more tomatoes and 7 cases of ramen noodles. and 4 big shopping bags of halal-certified ramen. When they learned on the first visit that the number of Muslim families visiting the pantry had increased, but halal food was not always available for them, they took on this very specific sacred need. I think that they'll be pleased on their next visit to learn, as I just did, that several partnerships have been forged with halal bakeries in Richardson, who are now providing fresh baked naan and other halal certified foods to our pantry in Vickery Meadow. There are 2 versions of this next story. The first one. Last week, a man drove up in a beat-up car. The volunteer asked how she could help, assuming he needed food, like most people who drive up. He said, "I'm retired military and this shouldn't be happening. My wife and I have decided we're going to donate $100 a month to a food pantry. I'm here to give it to you." He gave her the money and drove away. No receipt needed. No thank you card sent. But I want to extend a big public thank you to this anonymous angel and all the others out there. He may or may not know the Jewish philosopher Maimonides taught long ago that this is the very best way to give tzedakah. Here's the second version of the same story. A woman came to the pantry on Wednesday. And she opened her trunk and took out 2 full bags of groceries. Our volunteer peeked into the bags and complimented her on the healthy choices. The woman said, "I've given it a lot of thought, and I've decided to spend $100 a week on groceries for the pantry." And they chatted for a while about the various needs of the neighbors, as the clients are called at our pantry, those who shop there, and they talked about what people do and don't donate. And the woman said, "If it's okay, I'd like to call you every week before I shop and find out what you need, and I'll get that for the neighbors." My guess is that next week, the team will ask her to bring $100 worth of eggs, and the week after that, $100 worth of chicken. Because as you probably know, that due to federal cuts, these most basic proteins are no longer available from the North Texas Food Bank. This week they sent 5-pound bags of frozen French fries as protein. It's not the fault of the North Texas Food Bank, but the local donations are desperately needed now to provide these very basic essentials. So the volunteers have a theory about the increase in support. And that is that people drive by the pantry in this very public location and they see the long lines outside because there's no place to wait inside, it's so small. And so people see the lines and they want to help even without the promise of free ice cream. I think they're probably not wrong, I think they're probably right, but my theory is this as well, that there are people of many faiths and of no faith, people of varied political views, people born here and people who were born in other countries. And they all agree that kids can't learn if they're hungry. And senior citizens need medicine and food to be healthy. And families need to pay their rent and eat meals at their tables. And these shared values, they emerge in this week's Torah portion. They provide a foundation for the work so many organizations and individuals are doing together, trying to fill the gap left by the government for those living with food insecurity. The opening verses of the portion provide an example of how to make sure that good food is available for everyone. Abraham is seated at the opening of his tent when 3 messengers appear. He runs to greet the travelers and offer them water and food. He greets the guests by saying, "Let me fetch a morsel of bread that may refresh your hearts." Rabbi David Kimke suggests, by extension, this verse teaches us that bread sustains a person's life. The Hebrew text uses the word lave, heart. And we learn from Abraham that the heart, the soul, one's whole being can be nourished, revived, sustained with the simplest, most basic form of nourishment, bread. Abraham offers this simple fare in abundance. He calls for 3 seahs of flour to be used. That's a lot of flour. For the bread to be prepared quickly and without fuss, so that he can quickly nourish the hearts, the bodies and souls of those who have arrived at his door in need. His biblical action sets an example for us to follow, to remember that food sustains body and soul, and that we can provide it to others. This biblical episode is brief. It's only 8 verses from the moment the guests arrive until the moment these messengers are eating under a tree. Abraham, Sarah, and their community rise to the challenge, and they rush around to provide food. They run. They perform the baking quickly. They bring energy and intention to their sacred work. This value from our Musar texts is called zerizut. Zerizut means do mitzvot, sacred deeds, with alacrity, with enthusiasm. It means don't dawdle or put off doing the sacred work until you have more time or more money or more energy. As Alan Morinis explains, when a mitzvah presents itself, don't let it go stale. The mitzvah is here right now. It's fresh, like bread right out of the oven. The snap cards are empty. The lines are long. The judges' rulings were pending, are pending, will be pending. It depends when you last check the news. But what we can agree and what we know is that people are hungry. So what can we do? Bring non-perishable food to tongue-in-cheek and enjoy the free ice cream. Thank them. Thank them a lot as a small business for making a big difference by engaging their customers in this important issue. Make your own weekly or monthly commitment. Skip 2 cups at Starbucks, and the same $10 in the hands of the North Texas Food Bank will feed someone for a whole day. Contribute to our disaster relief fund. Join our community garden team. Last year, they harvested over 10,000 pounds of produce that went directly around the corner into the food pantry. Volunteer at Jewish Family Service. The increased demand means more hands are needed to stock the shelves. Share the bounty of Thanksgiving later this month. What would it mean to have less pie or fewer snacks during the football game? Or maybe skip the beer and wine so others could have the basics they won't be getting from the SNAP benefits. Or maybe you prefer to think bigger. Get involved in the advocacy efforts taking place across our state and country with Mazon. Call politicians, join coalitions that are lobbying, support organizations that will be addressing the systemic challenges of food insecurity long after, God willing, the government reopens and hopefully benefits in their full return. Use the resources in tonight's handout. This QR code has everything you need to know, everything you can do, or you can check our website for the details as well. And of course, if you or your loved ones or your friends need help, please let us know. Confidential help is available through any clergy member or from our Director of Pastoral Support, Meredith Prizant. Finally, I want to suggest we follow the lead of a pantry volunteer who wrote these words. But for the sheer grace of God and luck of family origin, I too could be standing outside the doors of the pantry, on the sidewalk, with the other hungry souls seeking food for my family. We routinely hear at the pantry, "I never thought I would be in the position to have to ask for food." The comment seems to be on an infinite repeat, consuming my thoughts. I am humbled by being lucky enough to be on the inside of the doors. That thought provides serious motivation, making me work as hard as I am able to assist in getting food out the door. This is a profoundly humbling experience and one that fuels my soul. This is a Shabbat to fuel our souls so that we can fuel the souls of others. May the stories of our ancestors, our congregants, and our neighbors inspire us to nourish hearts and bodies with abundant food and to do this sacred work with alacrity. May we, blessed, lucky to be inside the doors, work together to bring this crisis to an end and feed every hungry soul at this challenging time and beyond. Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be God's will. Amen.